Hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through the Gallagher Premiership matches over the weekend, giving my reaction to some of them, what it means, what form it means for the teams, and all sorts of things like that. So if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also drop a comment down below, whether it's about your team or whichever side in the division. What do you make of what we've seen so far this season? Tomorrow on the channel, which is Monday, I'm going to be doing a video because Eddie Jones will name his England squad for the Autumn Nations series. So keep an eye out for that. But as for now, let's get into it. So it is the gift which keeps on giving, the Gallagher Premiership. Let's not talk about the stuff off the field because there is all sorts of turmoil and problems, and I've done so many videos on this channel about Worcester and Wasps. Today, let's focus on the action on the pitch because once again, it's been a really interesting round of matches, some big results, some really important results for certain teams. So I'm going to go through all of that in this video. I'll tell you what, let's start today, recording this on Sunday evening. Let's look at today's match in the Premiership. Harlequins hosting Leicester Tigers, and a 19-27 victory for the Tigers, for the defending champions. That is a huge result for them. They had started the season really poorly. They've already lost 3 games this season. In the whole of the regular season last year, they only lost 4, and I think it took them until January before they lost their first game. So it's been quite a frustrating start for Steve Borthwick and co, and a concerning start for their sides. But I think that's a bit of a statement victory today against Harlequins. That's not an easy place to go. Quins, whilst maybe I haven't been playing at the levels which saw them win a Premiership title a few years ago, have still put in some pretty good performances and got some good results in there as well. So for Tigers to come to Southwest London and to get the result, I think is massive for them. I think it's absolutely huge because they're not there yet. I think Leicester are at a point where actually they're rebuilding a little bit. You know, sometimes teams can win a trophy and that just leads to them kicking on and going on to win more and they're at the top. Sometimes it almost has the opposite effect and you have to drop that back down slightly to build back up again. I think that's what Tigers have to do. I don't think it's as drastic as we've seen some teams where they're completely out the running for top 4. I still expect that Leicester will probably still be in amongst it, but they need to improve. And this is a building block towards them being able to do that. So important result for the Leicester Tigers. And yeah, I think, as I say, I think it's important. I think they can build upon today. Hopefully that, from their perspective, can give them a momentum to kick forward. From a Harlequins perspective, I don't know what to make of Harlequins quite yet this year. I think they've had a relatively difficult fixture list. They had Saracens at home, didn't they? They played Exeter away. Both those games they've lost. So it hasn't been easy. So I think they will start to pick up more results when the fixture list is a little bit kinder to them. But maybe cause for concern for them. Just have a quick look at the Premiership table. Yeah, in 8th at the moment. They've now lost 3 games and only winning 2. As I say, I think Quins, if they get it right, they're going to be kind of a top 6 team, maybe a top 4 team. They will start picking up results once the fixture list is a little bit kinder to them. I wouldn't be too concerned yet, but that's certainly one to keep an eye on. All right, so good win for Leicester. Let's move back to Friday. Friday night game was Sale against London Irish, and Sale are looking really good. Did a video on them last week because I was at their victory at Welford Road against Leicester Tigers. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing from them. I think Rafi Quirk coming back is really important. I think he's absolutely key. And I think that's key as well for England in terms of their selection. For me, I've done a video on this channel. He should be the starting 9 for England moving forward. He's got so much zip to his game. He's so explosive. He kicks well. I think he just does everything really well. But outside of him, because actually he's only just came back into the squad over the last few days, let's give the rest of them credit as well. The likes of Rob de Preer. Rob de Preer, who's been playing fly half. We saw him play fly half a lot last year. And let's all be frank, he didn't look like a fly half. He didn't look like a Premiership quality fly half. There were major question marks over him. It was only when AJ McGinty wasn't available that he was often playing fly half. AJ McGinty has left and gone to Bristol and isn't exactly knocking down the door to be the starting 10 for the Bears. And Rob de Preer has been absolutely superb. Alex Sanderson has spoken about it in the media and given a lot of credit to the South African playing fly half. I think he's been pulling the strings and looks really good. So credit to him. They've got a pack which is giving them the go forward ball. They're really physical in defence. Those two things in terms of the forward pack and the physicality in defence, I think Sale have always had that. I think it's maybe just other elements of their game are coming together now. They're making less mistakes. They're capitalising on the pressure they get. They look like a really, really good side. And I think they're almost epitomised in a way, because we all know about Rafi Quirk. We know about Dan de Preer and the Curry brothers and Van der Merwe in the front row. We know about their guys, which are kind of good highlight reel players, like sensational players, but brilliant in a highlight reel. It's the likes of Joe Carpenter, who's come through this season at fullback, who looks really, really good. Gus Waugh, who has been standing in for Rafi Quirk when he was injured, who's essentially their backup 9, but has done an absolutely brilliant job. I just think that squad now, Alex Sanderson has them ticking. They're getting on the right side of results that they weren't able to win last year. Really impressive start from Sale. And it's no surprise that they are yet to lose a game. Them and Saracens played 5, won 5, the early pace setters. Here's a thought for you, and I'm going to keep an eye on this one. Are we once again going to have another Premiership season like last year where, I don't know, we've played 5 rounds now, have we? 6 rounds, where we know after round 8 or 9 who's going to be in the Premiership final? Last year, one of the biggest flaws for the Premiership, and as good as it was a massive, massive issue that we basically all knew it was going to be Saracens against Leicester in the final, and that's how it ended up. Is that going to be the same this year with Sale and Saracens? We'll wait and see. I don't think that would be a disaster, particularly from having Sale really, really good again. But for the rest of the league, it's just not great. London Irish, another defeat for them. You've got to worry about them. They're second bottom at the moment. They've only won 1 game of their 4. Admittedly, they've also got a few games in hand because of the whole Wasps and Worcester thing, which is, I mean, it's terrible for those clubs. It's made a complete mess of the fixture list. So yeah, we'll see for London Irish. This season, a lot of people thought, could they kick on? They drew so many games last year that you looked at it and said, if they win those games, if they turn those draws into victories, all of a sudden we're looking at a top 4 team, certainly a top 6 team. Doesn't look like they're necessarily kicked on at the moment. So there is an element of concern there for London Irish for sure, but we'll wait and see. All right, on to the Saturday games. Gloucester-Bristol, this one looked like an absolutely brilliant contest. A West Country derby, back and forth, and Gloucester winning it really, really late on. Big win for Gloucester, I think. Good for them at home. From a Bristol perspective, played 3, won 3, lost 3 now. And after their first 3 games, they'd won all 3 of them. Then you might remember they had that Friday night game where they were absolutely atrocious up at Newcastle and they lost. And everyone made a big deal about it, saying, oh, it's the bottom of the league beating the top of the league, and that hardly ever happens. It wasn't really that, because frankly, Bristol, they weren't the best side in the league. Everyone knows they weren't the best side in the league. It was so early in the season that I don't think the table reflected the quality quite yet. But since that defeat, they've now lost 3 in a row, which is a bit concerning. It is a bit of a slide. I think, in all honesty, Bristol are probably a reflection of where they are. They should probably have won 4 and lost 2. They should be a better side than Newcastle, but they went up there, up to the northeast on a Friday night and were terrible. And so they've won 3, lost 3. That's personally how I kind of see them. And I say that as a Bristol fan. I see them as a kind of mid-table Premiership outfit. They can get results, but they are still quite inconsistent. I don't think they are a top 4 side this season. But for Gloucester, as I say, good result for them. It's always a difficult place to go. They're up to 4th. They've only lost once, maybe going under the radar a little bit, actually, Gloucester. Some other sides, Saracens, Sale, getting a little bit more plaudits. They've also only played 4 games again because of that fixture list. So Gloucester, I had them in my top 4 before the start of the season, and they're looking pretty good. Northampton Saints, Newcastle, 32-31 result for the for Northampton, I beg your pardon. Newcastle came back into it really, really late. For most of the game, Northampton were actually pretty comfortable and had quite a big lead. It was one of these Premiership games that we happen to be seeing at the moment where Newcastle came back into it late. They did have a chance to go and win the game, like they genuinely could have done, so they might feel disappointed. But I think overall, it was actually quite straightforward, despite what the scoreline is and despite the fact that it did come down to the last play. In terms of, if you were looking at like 70 minutes of that game, it was a straightforward, routine victory for Northampton. But it's the Premiership, these things happen. And it ended up being really, really, really close. What we are seeing from Newcastle, I think, is more signs of life than maybe people expected after the first few rounds. They've got their victory against Bristol. They've pushed Northampton really, really close. They're not going to be a pushover. They're a hugely important club for the league and for English rugby because they're up in the northeast. I don't mean that to sound patronising. We need the game to be in other areas other than kind of the southwest pocket of London and in the West Country. So important Newcastle for the league. Hopefully, they also have, they pay below the salary cap. They are one of the sides that don't spend up to the salary cap, so they're already at a little disadvantage. So I don't know, they're one of those sides I think most people kind of wish them the best. And then final game, Saracens 37, Bath 31. Bath, who would have thought it, potentially going away from home and almost doing a job on Saracens. Saracens just had too much in the end. Bath, to me, looked like a side completely devoid of confidence and unable to get themselves a result. I think they have forgotten how to win, and it's a long, long way back for that club. So Saracens, top of the table, joint in terms of results with Sale, played 5, won 5. They picked up one more bonus point. So they are on the maximum of 25 points after 5 games. Sale are on 24 points. Both of those sides have played 5 games. Yeah, as I said already, keep an eye on that. Do we already know pretty much, barring a surprise, what the Premiership final is going to be? It is very early in the season, but I think that is interesting given the fact that it was Leicester and Saracens all of last year. Is there going to be the competition in the league that we would like to see? Anyway, I've been rambling on for long enough. That kind of covers all of the games this weekend. Started off with the Tigers one. Also, yeah, Exeter and Wasps obviously cancelled because of Wasps administration or impending administration. We're expecting that to be confirmed. Once again, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what do you make of the Premiership so far this season. And tomorrow, Monday, I'll do a video on Eddie Jones's England squad for the autumn. See you in the next one.